Where is he?
Come on, Morgana, what are you doing?
Chavez?
Oh, hey, I thought you were supposed to be in like 20 minutes. What time is it? What's up? Hey.
Hey, just thought I had some time. Thought I'd swing by.
Oh,
What are you doing?
just playing some really cool manly games, man. Of course, like it's what the kids are playing. Let's go record a video. Let's go. Come on. Let's go record a video. So I get this question a lot. Is it too late for me to get recruited? And I get this question asked to me in a lot of different ways. And like most people who would be presented this question, my immediate answer is probably yes. But that doesn't mean that there aren't rule-breaking exceptions to this rule. That's important because that applies to a lot of people. My immediate answer to this is yes, it's probably too late because this actually happened to me. This is something I experienced personally. When I was getting recruited, I didn't start until pretty late after my junior year season of football, and because of that, my recruiting suffered. But then I thought about it. Except for extreme examples, I'm pretty sure my viewpoint on this has changed. Alright, what's up guys? I just want to come in mid-workout. I just want to talk to you guys a little because I just wanted to, say what's on my mind, say what I think is important for this type of video for you guys to understand. Now, out of high school, I got started in the recruiting process super late, and this caused me not only to be worried about my future, but just to be stressed in general. I was just stressed in general, and it just really took an impact on me in a lot of different ways in my life that I would not have thought so in the first place, just from recruiting, man. But football means a lot to me. I'm sure it means a lot to you guys. That's why you're watching this type of video, and I just want you guys to be aware of kind of what you're stepping into. Now, a lot of people that go through this kind of stuff would probably quit right there and then, and to be honest, I wouldn't blame them. The stress that recruiting puts on a young athlete can be really heavy, and it can weigh down a lot of things in your life and make a lot of things more stressful than they need to be. Now, this isn't a mental health video, and I could probably make a whole video on that, and I probably will at some point in the future. But what I want to talk about today was the implications that recruiting can have on your life that aren't only positive but are negative as well. Because one, we're talking about it already, and two, if you're going to jump into this world of recruiting, I want you guys to know what you're stepping into. It's important to understand the negative implications that recruiting can have on your mental state potentially. Because of all the different places I've had to go, because of having to continue my recruiting process into college well past when anyone should really have to do that, I just know recruiting now, and it's a part of me. And with that, comes a lot of stress, a lot of, man, I'm getting older, am I gonna still be able to play? My clock is running out, what am I gonna do? And I guarantee you some of you are at home asking, how do you deal with that? How do you go through that much stress for that long amount of time? And to be honest with you, ironically, the way I deal with it is by practicing the very thing that makes me so stressed. The more I practice, the more I perfect my craft, the more I work on my skills as a football player, the more at home and the more stable I seem to be. You know what I mean? It helps me relax, and it helps me keep my mental to a certain level that I'm comfortable at. And you know, it's weird to say, but it really has kind of become my addiction. I really don't know if I really want to go and not work out for like a week. That sounds terrible. I want to work out pretty consistently. I want to make sure I'm continuing to become a better athlete. I never want to go backwards. And that's probably not the greatest thing. It's a really weird relationship I have with the sport, with working out, with my body and everything. And despite all of the stress, despite all the sleepless nights that you just stare up at the ceiling trying to go to bed, but you keep thinking, am I going to be where I want to be in the next 5 years? Am I going to end up where I want to end up? What if I don't get there? What am I going to do? Despite all that, it's become kind of my eustress. If you don't know what eustress is, I'm going to put it right here. Look it up. Having this eustress has helped me become a more productive person and make sure I get where I want to get going. So if you're not ready for this path that will push you to your physical limits and potentially also push you to your mental limits as far as your stress and as far as everything with that goes, then this might not be it for you. And I'm not trying to be mean when I say that. I'm saying it to try and help you in the long run. So, is it too late for you to get recruited? Probably, but not necessarily. The main thing that you have to think about is, how late are you to the party? How late are you in your recruiting process? Because if you're just getting started your senior year, you're going into your senior year and you haven't even started the recruiting process, there's only so many options you're leaving yourself with. I'll give it to you right now. Alright, so the first thing that you have to think about if you're just getting started your senior year recruiting is, what are my options right now? Do I have any connections to any other schools that might be able to help me out in my recruiting process and want me on their team? If you do, I would definitely hit those schools up. Don't be picky. Definitely reach out and be proactive about it. Because at this point in time, unless you have a really magical connection, you don't have a good chance of getting in at many schools in general. Ones that are above D3, of course. A lot of D3s are taking kids late into their senior year a lot of times. If you don't have any connections to any schools like that, or you don't have anyone that has connections like that for you, then there's a couple options that you're left with. The first one is go JUCO. That's just the option to get more exposure, to be able to get more film, and basically to restart your recruiting process. Because once you enter college, your recruiting process kind of starts over if you ever decide to transfer or go to JUCO and try and transfer out of there. You become basically a new player. What you did in high school doesn't matter anymore. It really doesn't matter. Your second option is to try and go to a school that you think you can walk on at, or hopefully you might be able to talk to the coach and try and organize some sort of preferred walk-on or walk-on once school starts. That's how regular walk-ons do their walk-on tryouts. Is usually it's the first day of school they're able to walk on, the first week or something like that. So if you don't think JUCO is your thing, if you don't want to go out of your way to go find a good JUCO to try and get recruited at, or waste some years of eligibility potentially if you don't produce any film or get on the team or something like that, then you could always go and try and walk on to a university. Now, this isn't a for sure thing that you're going to be able to do. Not everyone can just walk on. It's actually very hard. For walk-ons in particular, being one, it is very, very helpful to have connections and have someone that's able to talk to the coach about you instead of you just trying to sell yourself, because a lot of times they're trying to get ready for season. They don't really have time to try and talk to a bunch of people trying to walk on. But if you have an in, that puts you way above everyone else. That puts you up here. Everyone else is down here because they don't have connections. So try and work on getting some connections to a school that you might be interested in walking on at. Now, there is a third option, and not a whole lot of people talk about it. I really don't see anybody talking about it. And I look up a lot of recruiting videos. I look up a lot of stuff that revolves around recruiting, and I don't really see a lot of people talking about it. If you live on the East Coast, you might be more familiar. But for me on the West Coast, I had never heard of it until probably I was a senior in high school. But that's prep schools. Prep schools are basically a place for you to go to a 5th year of high school. And at this place, you'll be able to just continue your high school career. It doesn't infringe on your college eligibility. It doesn't do any of that. And they're highly recruited by a bunch of different colleges. So this all sounds great. What are the downsides? Basically, the downsides is it's far away potentially. They're only basically on the East Coast. There's really no other ones outside of the East Coast. The East Coast area, I would say. 2, it costs a lot of money. They cost a lot of money. And 3, you might not be able to get on there either. You're only allowed to have so many 5th year seniors on the team. I think there was only 4 on the one I looked at. The coach I talked to when I was a senior, because I got started recruiting late, so I was looking at prep schools too, but cash, other side of the country, it didn't work out. But they only wanted me to play certain positions because they only had 4, I think maybe 5 spots on the team for 5th year seniors, but there's very, very select spots. So it's a lot harder potentially to get in. I would not say this is the option for everybody, but I would say everybody could potentially look into it. Now it's up to you if you want to decide if you want to, potentially waste your time looking at these schools or not. Now, let's say you're a junior. I got started my junior year, but it was after my junior season had ended. So for me, I basically started my senior year essentially. But say it's before your junior year. Is it too late for you to get recruited? No, I don't think so. There's a lot of higher up D1s that are probably rounding out the end of their recruiting process. They're seeing who is going to fill out the rest of their roster, and it's not all written in stone yet, but they are getting there. So you might want to work quick if you are at this point in time. You want to make sure you're trying to get there or get whatever connections you can get for those schools as fast as possible, and try and get going on that, because they don't really offer too many people going into their senior year. Now, that's not to say it doesn't happen. It absolutely does. I'm just giving you the average of what usually happens, because for a lot of us that are trying to get recruited, you want to, spread your net wide. You don't want to shoot for the, maybe this school, maybe this school. No, you want to go, okay, most schools will recruit me in this time period. If you think of it like that, you're giving yourself the best possible chance to get recruited that you have. Now, as far as D1 AA's, maybe non-Power 5s, going into their junior year, maybe a little bit afterwards, is when they'll start, getting there, getting rounded up. But really, a month or 2 after your senior year is when they're pretty much done. Like, they're done. The last couple people on their team are basically, already locked in. You're not really going to have too many opportunities come to you after that time period. Now, that's not to say you can't get a walk-on. That's completely different. I'm strictly talking about scholarships here. But as far as walk-ons go, you can get that all the way up until May, June, July. If you can get in the school fast enough. It's just a matter of if they have the roster spots. It doesn't happen all of the time, but a lot of schools like that are, they're able to bring in kids as long as they're enrolled in school, or they're going to enroll in school. It's just basically the Power 5s that really round out early, and they don't really let too many people on really late into the recruiting process unless you're an absolute freak. And again, I'm talking to the majority here, and not everyone can be absolute freaks, which is understandable. It wouldn't be an absolute freak if everyone was an absolute freak. We would all just be normal. All in all, I hope this video helped you guys, and hopefully you guys will be able to use this time and use this opportunity you guys have in your recruiting to really propel yourself in the scene and make sure you guys are getting the type of film you need and putting yourself out, making connections where you need to, all of that. You guys know, right? My name is Jarvis, and I'll see you guys on the next one.